This is teddygaming. Welcome back to another review on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TMNT vs Street Fighter, and yes, this is another crossover for 2023. Yay! Now this crossover, I must admit, I'm not the biggest fan of this one just yet, just because I'm not really big of a fan of Street Fighter, so I don't really know too much about them. So I've got a feeling that when we do get to some of the big wow moments, it's just going to be like, okay, yeah, that happened for me. And that's all really disappointing just because I'm a big fan of Turtles, and seeing them do a crossover, it all gets me hyped up for stuff like this. But when I don't really know about the other properties that I'm crossing over with, it all makes me hard to actually get excited for this stuff. But I must admit, I'm giving it a chance. I still don't know who any of the characters are, but so far it seems pretty interesting. And I must admit, with the team behind it so far, I don't really know too many of the names so far, or any of the work. The only one which I do know some of the work so far is Jeremiah's, and I must admit, I do really enjoy their colours on this book. And I must admit, the art style for this one is really great. The writing is a bit iffy, I would say, so far, but I think that's only because there's some bits of this book which I think will be better as we do read it more, but at the same time, I feel still there's all stuff that they could improve. But I will explain a lot more of that when we do get later into this review, because it's really interesting with how they do this book, and yeah. Okay, so first off, I'm going to talk about the villains, and there's not really too much I can really talk about because there's not really too much that really happens. So there's this Street Fighter guy, he's a villain. I don't really know too much about him. I think he's a scientist or something. He's watching the match between Raphael and that guy. I don't know who his name is, so yeah. And he's teaming up with Baxter Stockman, and there's not really too much I can really say about it, but he just want to kidnap Raphael, and that's pretty much all I can really say about it, just because that's pretty much all there is to it. But I will say this, in this scene here, this is probably where my excitement for this series did drop quite a bit, just because they do mention stuff about all the ongoing series for Turtles, with the mutants coming over to like different parts of the world and stuff like that, and you know, if this is still part of the IW ongoing series, then I do think that this book is ultimately just going to fail, just because I just think that it's going to ruin the IW Turtles and make them feel like less special. The one thing which I really enjoy about IW Turtles is how they're like on their own, separate from everything else, and just being themselves really. And I must admit, I do really enjoy that. And I do think that when we do get to all the other crossovers that are taking place in this universe, such as the Sohi Jimbo stuff, the Ghostbusters stuff, that's all taking place in different universes, and at least say that the two properties are in different universes. But if this one, they're saying that like the two characters or two franchises are in the same universe, and if this is connected to like this universe and stuff like that, but I do think that's going to ruin it, just because I know I feel so that like there's so many questions I got about it, just because if it is connected, then I don't know, it feels so like one of those things where like I want to know how the like Street Fighter characters would react to the Mutant Town stuff, how they would react to like some of the Armageddon game stuff, how they react to the City at War stuff. Now, there's so much stuff which I do have questions about, and if it is all connected, then I think it could potentially ruin it, but I think that's going to be a wait and see type situation, but yeah. Okay, so for the actual main story itself, it's interesting, I would say, and there are like a few little problems here and there, but I think there's something which I would like to explain a little further into this video. So first off, we do get to see Raphael fighting this man in the arena. I don't know his name, but I must admit this whole fight scene is really good, really amazing. Just them brawling it out, punching each other very brutally, and it was amazing. And we do have Raphael flipping over the guy, and it really did give me a lot of vibes from the 2003 show, from the big brawl, I think it was part 2, where Raph flipped Truxmus over, and again, like so many great things about this whole crossover so far, and I do really like the whole fighting aspect in this comic. It really just gave me a little Battle Nexus vibes, which is just amazing. Now, during the fight, Raphael does punch the man in the throat, and then he gets disqualified for that. However, that is only because one of the villains has basically said that he wants Raphael, so he wants to get him out of the match, and that's pretty much all it is. Yeah. Meanwhile, we do have Mikey. He's going out and getting some food. That's when he bumps into Ching-Lang. I don't know how to say the name, so I'm pretty sure I said it wrong, so sorry. But this is a pretty interesting thing. And then we do have Leonardo like sort of talking to people, wanting to tell them about how these people are going missing, and that's the end of the story. And yeah. then a little while later, we do get to see Mikey talk to Leo, and that's when it's revealed that Mikey is going to be fighting next, and he's going to be fighting Chun-Li, and I must admit here it's pretty interesting because, like I've already said, it just gave me a little Battle Nexus vibes, and again, it was so amazing because of that, and it was really great, and I do think that the interactions between the two characters were interesting, I would say. And I do think that like the whole fight between the two were really great and really fun and interesting, and they do sort of have like a little romance type thing that they are sort of going to build up maybe in next following issues, but I would say with that, it does feel as though it's a bit weird, just because even though it's great to sort of have them interacting, which is just great, I do feel as though that the romance thing is a little bit weird just because after this crossover, they'll probably never mention the characters ever again being in love or anything like that, so I do find that a little bit weird, but other than that, I do find this fight to be really fun and really cool and just, yeah, I can't say much more than that, it was just really fun to see that. And then in the end bit, we do get to see the Street Fighter characters walking down the street, and that's when Raphael bumps into them and must have a fight, and that's pretty much where we go into the next issue, and yeah. So I must admit, overall, this whole story so far is a really great and really fun one. I do see a little potential for this crossover being really good and really fun, and it does give me a little Battle Nexus vibes, which is just amazing. But I will say this, it just feels very weird with the story overall, just because it feels though that the story just feels though that it's like already like halfway through the story, because normally when we do get these like type of crossovers, we normally do get to see like the first issue, seeing how the characters interact and get into like the story and stuff like that. And I do like how they're just like just going straight into the story, which is great, but it just feels though like a little bit weird just going straight into it, but I do like that about it. But even with that being said, I do feel as though that the whole story overall is going to feel very rushed. And the reason for this is just because each of the characters are going to be fighting one another and there's a tournament and stuff like that, which I think is really great, but it just feels though that more or less the characters are going to be fighting the characters once, and that's pretty much it, and then they're going to be moving on to stuff. So I feel so that the whole like tournament thing is going to be feeling really rushed throughout this series, which is a real shame because, and again this is a real shame just because I feel so like there was a lot of potential here to tell a really great story with the two fighting and stuff like that. I do see a lot of potential in this story, but I just think that the whole story that they're going for is really rushed. But I do think it's going to be a wait and see type situation because you never know, they could change it around and actually be really good. I'm really curious to see how Donnie, Leo and Jenica are going to be fighting in their issues and stuff like that, so it's going to be really interesting and fun to wait and see. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this issue, because I do think that this series is off to a great start, but I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today guys. If you do something, please share, like, subscribe and all that stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.